All right, welcome back to Market Day Report. I'm Scott Schultz, otherwise known as the Cow Guy. Thank you very much for tuning us in. If that's what you're doing, if you've been with us all day, that's good. Maybe I get this information to you in a nice, succinct way, and maybe you stick around. All right, let's take a look at corn. Let's bring up the corn chart or corn table, whatever you want to call it, behind my big fat head, and let's take a look at July. It's up 15 cents. We'll take it. 569.5 is last 6 cents off the highs. You go out to the East, the new crop, 7.25 cents. We're still around that 507 level, 7.25 cents higher. So between 6 3/4 and 15 cents higher across the board when it comes to corn, a little bit less as you go out the deferreds. Let's talk about soybeans. What do we have happening there? Well, we're higher, and this one's taking a new leg up here. Look at this, 32 cents higher in the July, 13.39 is last. That's 2.5 cents off the highs. Take it, right? Look at the Nove, making a run towards 12 bucks. Tried to kiss it earlier this morning at 11.99 3/4. Right now we're up 21 cents to 11.96 3/4, 3 cents from the highs. Let's take a look at the Chicago wheat prices here. They have been hanging around the unchanged level. We got July up a tick, 1/4 cent, 6.05 last, basically in the middle of the day's range. We go out to say D, that's down 1/4 to 6.35 Moving from Chicago, let's go to Kansas City and take a look at what the hard reds got in store for us. That July market's down 7 cents to 8.17 And that's about, what, 10 cents off the lows and 13 cents off the highs. That's going to be like right in the middle of the day's range. Dees is down 4 3/4 cents in Kansas City to 8.02 Moving right along from Kansas City to Minneapolis, the spring wheat there. It's hanging around that unchanged level. We're just steady a little bit easier. July is down a penny to 8.03 even. We got the D's down 0.5 cent. That's 2 ticks to 8.10 even. All right, there we go. Then finally, let's take a look at cotton. We'll get to our next guest analyst. How's that sound? 185 points lower in that cotton board. That's July. 84.87 is last there. We got 100 points lower in the D's to 82 cents, spot 89. There you go. All right, let's bring in our next guest analyst, and that would be Todd Bubba Horowitz with Bubba Trading in Las Vegas. Todd, thanks for being on the show. All right, brother. What are your thoughts? The floor is yours. Have at it.
Well, first of all, it's a nice rally, but I wouldn't get too excited like suddenly we've changed into a bull market. I think there's still a lot of issues in the grain markets here that need to be solved. I don't know if we can put the debt ceiling onto this as well. But, look, hopefully we'll get some consistency and get a few days of going where we can finally see the buyers have to come back in and cover their shorts. I think that would be a good sign. But again, last Monday we were up as well, and the rest of the week we spent struggling trying to hold and actually made lows again. So we're not in a great pattern right now. Obviously, the inputs are continue to rise while the outputs aren't. And I'm understanding there's some very bad crops out there as well, which is going to be really bad when you don't have enough volume to cover. It's going to make it even worse. So the situation is still pretty ugly with the economy. And unless we get, some real consistent buying here for more than a day, I think this is just a rally in a bad market.
You get frustrated like I do. I think one of the biggest stories last week, or maybe I think it was last week. I'm losing my mind now. But you know what? We imported wheat from Poland. That was cheaper than getting it from Kansas City. Doesn't that tell you something? And then we have this wheat tour. And these poor guys are sitting here listening to all this bullish news coming out of the wheat tour, yet the market keeps tanking on them. Is there come a time where we have to kind of put this data into a closet where it belongs, or at least take it out when we should really be looking at it? Because right now it seems to me that the strong hands are the funds. They're the ones that are moving the money around. We've got maybe a currency issue. We've got inflation issues. We've got interest rate issues, all playing more of a role than this wheat tour. I feel bad for the producers out there.
I couldn't agree more. But again, a lot of this goes back to the policies that are being run by this administration, starting with oil. Remember, oil is such a big component in everything that we do. It killed the prices, so it makes prices elsewhere cheaper than here, which is ridiculous. We should not be in this position, Scott. This goes back to how you run a business. And you may not think that the United States is a business, but the United States is a business. Just like anything else, it has to be run, which is why we're having this ridiculous debt ceiling debate once again. If we would have let things be the way they were, we wouldn't be having these problems, and prices would probably be a lot higher without the nasty inflation to go with it.
All right.
And that's, I think, is the problem when you just.
It's hard to argue. We are a business, but we keep investing in bad charities. How's that sound? All right. Stay right there. We're going to go away. We're going to pay some bills. We're going to come back and talk more with Todd Bubba Horowitz. He's with Bubba Trading in Las Vegas. We'll be right back after this. All right, welcome back to Market Day Report. This is where we talk about the livestock because I'm wearing a cow jacket. That's the old segue that I use, tongue in cheek. I know it might be getting tiring, but I still do it anyway. Let's take a look at what we've got going on with live cattle. That would be the board I want up, not cotton. Moving over to live cattle. Well, we're off here by $1 basically. $1.02 lower in the June to 164.70. $1.02 lower in the August to 163.27, and then we kind of tail off a little bit. Not as bad, you know. We lose between 60 and 40 cents as you go out the deferreds. The Feb's off 40 cents. That'll give you an idea about the curve, as they say. Let's talk about feeder cattle for a second here. August is down $1.17 to 233.92. We're $1.02 lower in the separate behind it to 236.92. And if we look at lean hogs, that's also a little bit easier, steady a little bit easier. Can't find a bid. June's down 65 cents to 82.37. And we've got July off 60 cents to 82.52. Let's bring back in our guest analyst, and that would be Todd Bubba Horowitz from Bubba Trading. All right, Todd, cattle on feed. What are your thoughts here? And it just seems like we're laying there.
We got cattle continues to be okay. There's just not enough of it, which is why prices are holding. You know, again, you have a short supply. I'm concerned about the hog market. You know, it continues to get hammered. And you know, we had a little bit of a spike last week, which is natural in the market, popped up, and now here we are lower again. I think really what's happening is that people can't even afford to buy hogs. The people that can afford to buy steak, that's all there's left, so they're buying that. But most can't even afford to buy hogs, and now they're buying poultry or less protein. And I think this relates back to the economy, the cost of goods, everything mixes in and melts into a big pot, which is not very exciting at the moment.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to continue to get some more retail information to see how this consumer is. I think the consumer is finally breaking a little bit here. We'll have to wait and see that number. Those numbers aren't really coming out yet, but we have seen some small cracks that says that the consumer cannot continue to spend at this pace. 7%
mortgages are coming, so we know that's not good. We know that the Fed is not doing their job correctly, and they're going to continue to hike rates into a recession. So those are not good signs for the U.S. consumer.
Yeah, all right. Great stuff to end it on. Really appreciate you coming on. That's Todd Bubba Horowitz, Bubba Trading in Las Vegas. We'll bring it back here to Nashville.